Hello everyone, welcome to Ezmo Battlerites tutorial. In this video I'm going to tell you about every single Battlerites, about the differences between a normal ability and how it changes after picking certain Battlerites, and afterwards I'm going to show you or tell you what I prefer, what Battlerites would I choose and why. I will explain how they differ and why they are actually worth taking in certain situations. So, let's go! Disruption. Chaos Grip stuns target hit for 0.5 second to 1 second depending on charge up. Arcane Barrage. Arcane Barrier can be recasted to launch up to 7 weapon charges as a bolt of energy, dealing 2 damage and healing 4 health per charge. Wreak Havoc. You gain 1 bonus weapon charge after using displays and a 60% fading haste for 0.5 second. Undermine. Shackle reduces target's damage and healing output by 50% for 2.5 seconds. This effect is called Weaken. Spell Eater. You gain double amount of charges from absorbing attacks with Arcane Barrier, and max charges is increased to 12 from 10. Warlock's Grip. Chaos Grip range increases by up to 25% when fully charged, and cooldown is reduced by 1 second. Collapse. Chaos Grip deals 2 to 8 bonus damage depending on charge up. Power Thief. Traveling through an enemy with displays deals 4 damage and heals you for 4 health. Exhaust. Landing 5 consecutive arcane fires inflicts a 1 second fading snare. Imprash. Arcane Barrier increases your movement speed by 30%. Arcane Energy. Maximum energy is increased by 25%, and Arcane Fire hits grant 1% bonus energy. Face Melt. Arcane Fire deals 2 bonus damage to enemies rooted by Shackle. Power Leash. Grimoire of Chaos leashes onto you, restoring 5 weapon charges over 2 seconds. Life Leash. Grimoire of Chaos leashes onto nearby allies, healing them for 10 health per second. Now let's talk about my preferences. You know what Battlerites do and what they are, so I'm not going to explain that again. But for the round 1, my choice is Disruption. This gives you quite a long stun because it's 1 second. It allows you to use, I don't know, a lot of attacks, for example, or your 5 charges, almost, maybe 4 or 5. Opponents wouldn't even react for the 5th one, I bet. That's why this is my choice, as it allows to deal more pressure, maybe even pull someone to the ulti of a certain champion, like Poloma or your ulti. And pull doesn't mean the champion won't escape, because if you won't have the stun, they will be able to use any escape if they have them. That's why the stun gives you the advantage over that person not escaping whatever you don't want them to escape from. Another Battlerite which I would consider worth taking if you actually feel like you're tanking too much or are needing of health, it would be Arcane Barrage, because after you block some attacks, you're able to shoot your charges at the opponent while dealing damage and healing yourself for quite a good amount, which adds up to 4 times 7, which is 28. That's why 28 health is a lot. So if you're in a need of health, you're tanking too much, or you want to be more in a front line, tanking, healing yourself, then you should choose this one. Wreak Havoc, out of those two, is not worth taking. The other two are quite more powerful, because the movement speed you gain or this one charge doesn't really do much of a difference when it comes to normal fight and in general in a round. Because even after the displays, the movement speed you gain while attacking won't matter at all, because you'll be moving at the same speed. So Wreak Havoc is only worth taking if you have to escape a lot, if you have to kite a lot. But then again, stun allows you to do that even better. In round 2, my choice is Warlock's Grip. It's quite powerful because you'll be able to pull enemies towards you from further away. The cooldown will be reduced, so you're able to use your ability a lot more often. And compared to other Battlerites you're able to choose, this one's, I don't know, quite the most suitable, considering what I'm going to choose next. I'm not choosing Spell Eater because it's dependent on opponents hitting your Arcane Barrier. And, well, it might never happen. Sure, they usually do, but that's what I said, they might not. Then again, Undermine, even though it's quite OP when it comes to weaken, as you're able to root enemies and also pressure them while they're not able to damage you as much or heal themselves that much. So this is worth taking, as long as you know you're able to keep the pressure on the enemy. But considering people usually use the shackle from far away, you won't be able to damage them during that duration. In round 3, my choice is Collapse. Increased damage on your Chaos Grip, considering I already have the stun, will allow you to out-damage the enemy. Will allow you to do so much damage, they will lose their real health, and will be losing health even more because of that. Another thing worth choosing, if you actually like pressuring and kiting around the opponent close to them, is Power Thief. Because the damage, if you hit enemy twice, adds up to the same damage you would get from the Collapse, but it also heals you, so allows you to prolong the pressure on the enemy while not really losing the health you wouldn't get from other Battlerites. Then again, Exhaust. It's pretty much useless. This Battlerite doesn't really do anything. The Fading Snare is so freaking low that it's almost useless. 1 second Fading Snare makes opponents stand still only for a split second, and you need to land 5 attacks, which is, well, it all depends on your aim. In round 4, I choose Arcane Energy. Simply because having more energy is always good, considering X ability of Ezmo costs 50 of it. So getting more of it will allow you to maybe use this powerful X ability instead of the ulti, which enemies can escape from quite easily. Impress is worth taking only when you're escaping or kind of losing the round, because if you're in the 4th round, it means you already are kind of struggling in the game. This way, if you have some movement speed and use the barrier, you will be able to escape maybe to the safety or your teammate to heal you. Face melt. This actually is worth taking only if you pressure the enemy very well. Because of the increased damage on the arcane fire, you will be able to do a lot of damage to the enemy while they are rooted and supposedly not able to escape. Keep in mind that it's not only your 5 charges you have, but after every displace you get the charges right away, so you're able to keep the pressure constantly. And to use your 5 charges you only need 0.6 seconds. That's why after every display, during the 2-second root, you'll be able to do a lot of damage. Supposedly, even 15 attacks while enemy can't move. Each of which would be increased by 2 damage, adding up to even 30 bonus damage during that duration. And if you're taking the face melt or you want to take it, please consider taking Undermine earlier, because if the enemy can't heal that much, the healing will be reduced by 50%, you will be able to do even more, considering their real health and how much they will be after your burst. The 5th round is kind of situational, because after the ulti, you can either get 5 weapon charges or 20 health. So it comes up to what you need more, whether you need 30 damage to kill the enemy, because the 5th round is the last round. So you need to know what do you lack, whether it's more damage or you actually want to survive a little bit more or heal while attacking the opponents. That's why you need to decide. But keep in mind, the ulti of yours, of Ezmo, pulls the enemies towards the center. That's why I would be taking the charges, because 20 health is not much. And those charges might actually allow you to continue the pressure while enemies are not able to escape that much, as they are pulled to the center, hence slowed or immobilized in a way. And I guess that would be it for Ezmo's Battlerite tutorial. I believe I talked about everything, explained everything, why I do choose certain abilities. It's not really that you should take the ones I recommend, but think yourself, what do you need most? Because more of the Battlerites, and actually Battlerites in general, are kind of situational. You just need to know what do you need more or what do you want to play with. That's why I explained all the differences, and I hope you're going to think yourself what to choose instead of taking stuff others people do. Because this way you won't know what you're going with and you won't be able to use those Battlerites to your advantage. You need to understand them to use them in the best way. So, if you liked the video, please thumb it up, subscribe to my channel if you're not following it yet, and cheers! Just remember to also follow my stream and watch it, because I stream a lot and it would be awesome to welcome you on my channel.